Being from North Carolina, Cardinals are typically my favorite bird, considering it's the state bird and everything. But Wednesday night, I hope we stinking stomp them.
You don't want none! You don't want none!
What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? It is your favorite North Carolinian, Russ the Tar Heel. And in this huddle, we're going to talk about the Tar Heels hosting the 6-10 Louisville Cardinals in the Dean Dome, January 17th at 9 p.m. on the ACC network. But before we start looking at all the elaborate details that are pertaining to this game, let's look at the updated AP and coaches poll. And they have our North Carolina Tar Heels checking in at number 4 in the AP and number 3 in the coaches poll. And what's even crazier is the fact that Carolina garnered a first place vote in the AP poll, which means that a lot of eyes are starting to turn this way, bro. They're starting to turn back to Chapel Hill. The fact that somebody thinks that Carolina is the best team in the country. And I would be hard-pressed to disagree with the fact that Carolina is playing better than anybody in the country. Now, Tennessee falls to number 6. Puke rises up to number 7. UK falls to number 8. And OU drops down to number 15. Now, as of January 15th, the updated ACC rankings are as follows. And obviously, sitting atop, alone on the throne, the 5-0 mighty Tar Heels from North Carolina, followed by a 4-way tie for second at 4-1 with Florida State, Puke, the team we love to hate, and Fake. Miami is 3-2, followed by another 4-way tie for fourth at 2-3, including UVA, Virginia Tech, Clemson, and Syracuse. Notre Dame is 2-4, and another 4-way tie for last place at 1-4 with BC, Pitt, Georgia Tech, and Louisville. So, I love it. Now, the North Carolina Tar Heels and the Louisville Cardinals' first ever meeting was in a long since abandoned third place game way back in 1972 that saw the Heels beat the Cardinals 105-91. The Heels are currently 19-6 all-time against the Cardinals, with the last game between the two ending in an 80-59 Tar Heel win on January 14th of 2023 in Louisville. Armando Bacot finished with 14 and 16. RJ Davis added 12. Puff Johnson had 12. Surprisingly, this is a pretty cool stat, DeMarco Dunn had 14 points, and Love added 10. Leakey also contributed 6. Now, the Heels shot 47.4% from the floor, and L. Ellis led the Cards in that game with 22 points. But obviously, 21-point victory for the Heels. That's pretty good. Now, let's break down these team averages really quick. The Louisville Cardinals are averaging 73.8 points per game and giving up 76.6 points per game. They're shooting 43.1% from the floor as a team, and they average 36.3 rebounds per game. The North Carolina Tar Heels are averaging 83.8 points per game and giving up 69.5 points per game. They're shooting 45.4% from the floor as a team, and they're averaging 41.2 rebounds per game. UNC and Louisville have shared 3 common opponents thus far this year. Louisville lost to Kentucky 95-76, while the Heels also dropped their game to the Wildcats 87-83. Louisville lost to Pitt 83-70, while UNC beat Pitt 70-57, and the Cards lost to NC State 89-83, while the Heels beat the Wolfsack 67-54. So let's get into the weeds of this one. The Louisville Cardinals are led by head coach Kenny Payne, who is in his second season at his alma mater. Coach Payne led the Cardinals to a horrific 4-28 record in the 22-23 campaign. He has fared only slightly better this year, I suppose, by leading the Cardinals to a 6-10 record thus far, which is good for a 10-38 overall record, a .208 winning percentage. Yikes. The Cardinals' leading scorer is 6'5", 200-pound sophomore guard Mike James, who's averaging 14.3 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, and 1.4 assists. He's shooting 44.7% from the field and 41.8% from three. He's also a good free throw shooter at 80.5%. Mike has had 3 consecutive 20-point or better games against Pitt, Miami, and NC State. Then there's 6'3", 205-pound sophomore guard Sky Clark, who is averaging 14.2 points per game, 3.3 rebounds, and 2.8 assists. He's shooting 38.1% from the floor and 29.9% from three. Then there's 6'7", 205-pound sophomore guard Trey White, who's averaging 12.2 points per game, 5.9 rebounds, 1.6 assists. He's shooting 40.8% from the field and 28.6% from three. 6'10", 240-pound forward Brandon Huntley Hatfield is averaging 10.3 points per game, 8.7 rebounds, which is tied for 59th in the country, and 1 assist. He's shooting 55.1% from the field. And then there's 6'8", 190-pound senior forward J.J. Traynor, who is averaging 10.1 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, and shooting 51.6% from the field. So you got 5 guys that are averaging double figures. Louisville really does spread it out. Card's main guys off the bench are 6 foot, 160-pound freshman guard Tyler Johnson, who dropped 14 against the Wolfpack in a loss. And then you got 6'5", 205-pound freshman guard Curtis Williams. He also dropped 15 against the Wolfsack and went 4 for 6 from three. So you got to make sure that guy does not start lighting you up from deep. And now, the mighty Tar Heels of North Carolina, led by head coach Hubert Davis, who is in his 3rd season at his alma mater with a combined record of 62-26. Good for a .705 winning percentage. The Heels' leading scorer is 6 foot, 180-pound senior guard R.J. Davis, who is averaging 20.4 points per game, tied for 16th in the country, 3.4 rebounds, and 3.3 assists. He's shooting 43.2% from the field and 41% from three. He's also shooting 95.4% from the charity stripe. Then there's 6 foot, 180-pound freshman guard Elliot Cadeau, who's averaging 7 points per game, 1.6 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. He's shooting 45.5% from the floor, but only 22.2% from three. He's also only shooting 59.6% from the charity stripe. Then there's 6'5", 195-pound senior guard Cormac Ryan, who's averaging 10.7 points per game, 3.4 rebounds, and 1.4 assists. He's shooting 38.3% from the field and only 27.8% from three. Then there's my dude, 6'7", 235-pound junior forward Harrison Ingram, who is averaging 12.7 points per game, 7.8 rebounds, tied for 117th in the country, and 2.5 assists. He's shooting 42.9% from the field and 40.6% from three. And last, but certainly not least, 6'11", 240-pound senior preseason All-American forward Armando Bacot, who is averaging 14.6 points per game, 10.8 rebounds, good for 7th, and 1.3 assists. He's averaging 53.6% from the field and 79.3% from the free throw line. Seth Trimble, Jalen Washington, Jalen Withers are going to be your Heels main guys. Off of the bench, you could also see Zayden High and Paxson Wojcik for some sparing minutes. So now that we've looked at the tail of the tape, let's take a look at Russ's 3 keys to victory. Key number 1, sound ball movement. Louisville is a younger basketball team that plays a good bit of man, but will go to a matchup zone type look after they start getting torched by guards over and over. North Carolina has had really good ball movement as of late, and they need to continue to make the defense move side to side by swinging the ball around the perimeter. The Cards tend to get out of position fairly easily, leaving guys open on the wings for step-in threes, along with exposing the paint to wide-open guys in the middle. Swing the ball from side to side, make the defense move its feet. The longer they are required to play defense, the more likely they are to be lazy and something opens up. I'm telling you. Key number 2, attack the guards. RJ and Elliott should have a field day against the Louisville defense trying to penetrate and get to the rack. The Cards are far from the best team in keeping their man in front of them, and they play a lot on the hips of the ball handler. I can see Elliott and RJ having big assist days with guys like Armando, Harrison, Jalen Washington, and Jalen Withers being on the receiving end of those dimes. And key number 3, treat this like a business meeting. Struggling teams like the Cards need to be shown that they don't belong on the same floor as the Heels from the opening tip. Carolina needs to bring the hammer down early and take any thoughts of an upset out of the Cardinals players' minds. The young Cardinals did attempt to make it a game late against the Wolfsack, but weren't able to get over the hump. Take their souls early, which will lead us to Russ's score prediction. Now, the ESPN matchup indicator gives the Heels an impressive 98.3% chance of beating the Cards in the Dean Dome. And after watching the Cards in action, I think they are going to have an awfully terrible time of making this a basketball game. Armando Bacot has a big day down low. RJ Davis and Elliot Cadeau have at least 4 assists each, and the Heels' stifling defense makes it extremely difficult for the Cards to get anything going. I think the Heels win big again in this one, 91-66, getting another ACC win in a stretch of games where the Heels have a terrific opportunity in front of them of stacking W's. So let me know what you think down in the comments section, Tar Heel and Cardinal Nation. Is Russ onto something? Or am I down here on the end of the bench with the bifocals on? You know, I got the pen and pad because I've never stinking watched a basketball game before. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let's keep building this community where Tar Heels and others from the college football and college basketball community can come and chop it up about the game. Consider becoming a member of the Huddle Hooligans. We are 7 deep right now, and we're always looking for more to join the gang. I'm going to attempt to start releasing some members-only content for my diehards here soon. And don't forget, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, 9 p.m., we will be live watching the Heels stomp on the Cardinals in the Dome. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you, Tar Heel Nation. Like I said, let me know what you think down in the comments section. Like, share, subscribe. I love you, Tar Heel Nation, and we'll catch you on the next one.